Here are 12 things that make anxiety worse, and when your anxiety gets worse, it impacts your mental health even more. And I can tell you this because I have lived through this myself. I have been anxious for most of my life, and I was not aware the fact that I even had anxiety. Number 2 was that what was making my anxiety worse. Once I did find out that I was anxious and I started to research about it, I then also went into looking what else could make anxiety worse. And when it is impacting your day-to-day life, then it is a big issue, and you don't want anxiety to be that bad that it's impacting your day-to-day life when you're going to work, when you're at home, whether you have a family, whatever you're doing, you want to be able to manage it or reduce it so that you can get on with life, and anxiety is not controlling you, but you are the one in control, managing your anxiety. So I will be going through those 12 factors. I'm going to tell you the 2 most important things that impact your anxiety and make them worse right at the end, because they go hand in hand. So let's start. So number 1 is not moving your body. If you're not moving your body, then you are not creating your endorphins, and that's your happy chemicals. So the more you move your body, the more chemicals, endorphins that you will be creating to make you feel better, your anxiety levels to go low. You don't have to be exercising if you don't want to. Just moving your body even slowly, even around the house. If you can go for a walk, just take it in baby steps, I would say. Just to buy, for example, I'll give you my example, is that when I get going, I will go outside for a walk, and I will start off with a minimum of 10 minutes. I'll go for a walk around the block and come back, and I will feel a bit better. So anxiety does help to reduce your mood and reduce your anxiety. Number 2 is heavily drinking. Now, drinking alcohol can be a depressant, which can make you feel relaxed initially, especially when you're drinking and you're being social. But once the alcohol starts to wear off, it starts to make you feel anxious, and actually it can also start to make you feel nervous. So it can make your anxiety worse. Number 3 is skipping meals. If you're not eating enough food or at the right times, that can make you start to feel dizzy or make you feel irritable and anxious. That's because your blood sugar levels are dropping. So that's why it is important to have regular meals and also to have a balanced diet overall. If you are not eating, then that can make your anxiety worse, and I can tell you that from experience because I used to skip meals. Sometimes I would have my breakfast, sometimes I just wouldn't. I wouldn't even have my lunch, and it wouldn't be till tea time where I would be very miserable, very anxious, struggling to concentrate, and just not feeling good. My mood would be really low, and that's because my blood sugar levels had dropped and I needed to eat to get that energy within me, and once I'd eaten I'd feel much better. So I struggled with that for a long time, a couple of years I would say. The strategy that I put in place for that is to actually set times. So I knew what time I was going to work, so I had an idea of what time I would be getting ready for work and what time to have breakfast before I go. I had to set myself a routine specifically that I knew to make sure that I've eaten throughout the day at the proper times so that I wouldn't be feeling anxious. So approximately say 7:30 I would have my breakfast. I would try to aim for 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock to have my lunch, and then it would be around between 5 and 6 o'clock where I'd have my tea, and I had to specifically write it down to remember to make a routine, because I was in such a bad habit of eating at different times, which made me anxious all the time. It wasn't helpful at all. But making that plan for myself, writing it down, holding myself accountable really helped me to manage my anxiety. Even on the days where I went out with my family, you know, sometimes it would be around 11 o'clock that I'd arrange with my family, or they would arrange with me, you know, let's go out. And I wouldn't realise that, you know, once I'd left that, oh, it's nearly lunchtime, that I should eat something. And then later I'd be really anxious, which would kind of ruin my time with my family, and it would make me upset afterwards once I'd eaten, that, you know, I could have been happy and enjoyed myself had I not been anxious. But now it's a lot better, because I'm a lot more prepared. If I know that I'm going to be out around lunchtime or before lunchtime, I will take things with me to eat, to make sure that I can avoid that situation of feeling you know, irritable and anxious. Number 4 is sugar. Having high amounts of sugar actually spikes your blood sugar levels, and also it can make your blood sugar levels crash as well. So taking too much of it is actually going to make you more anxious, more irritable as well. Number 5 is having a messy room. Now, when you're in an environment where you are having a messy room, that does make your anxiety worse, because you look around and it just gets overwhelming, seeing so many things, so much clutter around you. It doesn't feel good at all, but you feel more nervous. So it is important that you do try and maintain your space around you, your environment. Keep it as organized as possible. Declutter regularly as well, as and when you can, so that it doesn't get overwhelming, that you don't have too many things. I mean, one tip I can give you myself, what I try to do is that if I haven't used it for a year, I will try and donate it. If it's not donatable, then I will throw it away, or even gift it to somebody if it's something that can be used. That's the number one tip that I can give you for decluttering. Number 6 is saying yes all the time. When you are making those commitments and saying yes, you tend to overcommit. And if you keep overcommitting to responsibilities, for example, whether that's at work, you are saying yes to all the tasks that are being given to you, or at home, you know, helping out others, whether that's within your family or your friends. Just keep saying yes. If you keep saying yes to everything, that's what leads to burnout. And this is where you need to create boundaries so that you can manage those responsibilities and expectations. And saying no isn't a bad thing. That doesn't mean that you're rejecting somebody. I know it can be associated with negativity, but it's not being negative. It's just you trying to create boundaries to say that actually I don't have the time, or that I have a lot of responsibilities at the minute and I can't do this right now. I mean, I will give you examples of what I use for myself. I used to always say yes to everything, and then that would make my anxiety worse. I would be stressing about it. I would be worrying all the time because I'd overcommitted, and the only person who was suffering in all that time was me. Slowly over time, I've had to learn to set boundaries, to look after my own well-being, to be able to be a bit more happier, you know, do everything that needs to be done, but also to have that balance. So for example, if I have a full work caseload and my manager has came up to me and asked me to do an additional task or take on additional cases, I would then openly communicate with my manager and say that I've got this many cases and I am at maximum capacity. So that will be me communicating to say that I won't be able to take on any more cases. And then if there's a solution that you can find, that would be really good to say, like, however, once X, Y, and Z cases done, then I can accept more cases. So it's not you saying that you don't want to do it, you can't do it. It's just that just not right now. I would like to give you an example of at home. If my friend has asked me to meet her on the weekend, but I've already made plans with my family to go out with them for a meal, what I will do is respond to my friend and say that thank you for contacting me or inviting me. I'm not available on this date. Will you be available on such and such date? So you are giving that open communication that you do want to meet up, just that today I won't be able to. And you don't have to explain why. You can explain if you want to. You don't always have to explain what you are doing or why you're not able to commit to what you've been asked to do. Number 7 is negative people. Now, being around negative people, that actually isn't a good thing to do, because it drains you. It makes your mood go down and you start to feel more anxious. The outlook that of the people around you are having is negative basically, and that's not a positive thing. That's not a positive feeling. It doesn't make you feel good at all. Once they go, you still subconsciously are thinking about these negative things. So negative people is something that is really important to identify. If you have negative people in your life, it's worth looking at how to manage being around them if it is making your anxiety worse, because that definitely makes my anxiety worse sometimes. I am around negative people and I tend to take on their worries, even though it's not my worry. So that consumes me and lowers my mood and impacts my day as well. So not just consciously, subconsciously too. Sometimes I'll be going to bed and I'll still be thinking about that person, of what they've said. So what the best thing to do is to manage it, not to overly intake negative people's thoughts in. Personally, I've come to a point now over the years it's took me is to have more boundaries in place and to limit negative people and negative talk. I've had to limit it so much because I just want to be happy all the time and I want to not be anxious. I want to enjoy life. I want to enjoy the moment, the here and now. So it's took me a long time to slowly work through how to manage negative people and to not be around them so much, so that I can be happier within myself and enjoy being within my home, enjoy being alive, enjoy my work, enjoy my family, and enjoy just being me. Whereas before I was always anxious. I was worrying about things that were happening in my life and I was worrying about every single person out there, and it does overtake your life. It impacts your day-to-day life, and that's not the place that you want to be. Number 8 is not drinking enough water. Now, when you are dehydrated, you do start to feel dizzy and start to have heart palpitations, and those of you who are already anxious know that you do have heart palpitations in general when you are anxious. And so if you're not drinking enough water, that increases your anxiety because you're having even more heart palpitations. So it is really important to drink plenty of water to make sure that you are not dehydrated and you're not making your anxiety worse. One tip from there I can give you is to buy large bottles. For example, the 1.5 litre bottles, and you can just recycle it, keep filling up that water, and or buy a number of bottles and just use them, so then you have an idea of how much water you have consumed. Being more hydrated does make you feel better within yourself, and if you don't already know this, that majority of our body is actually made up of water, so it is really important to keep hydrated. That really helps to not be as anxious as you already are. Number 9 is getting enough fresh air. Going outside into the fresh air, now that's whether that's in your garden, going to the park, going just outside for a small walk or a long walk, really does help you with your mood. It makes you feel better. It's a bit of a distraction because you are having to physically walk, see where you are going and what you are doing. Having that focus, it does reduce your anxiety and make you feel better. So if you stay at home, it doesn't help at all. It really doesn't help not having the fresh air. It's happened to me so many times where I've been demotivated. I won't leave the house. I've been stuck and confined within my own home, and I'm struggling to even get ready. I'm struggling to leave the house. I don't want to leave the house. I have no energy. I don't have the motivation. But once I leave, I am so much happier. I feel so much lighter coming back, and I try my best to at least do 20 minutes to up to an hour of walk, and that's not every single day. Majority of the time I try to get out to make sure that I am maintaining myself and just being happier in myself. But the days that I am anxious, those are the most important times. I can tell that I'm getting agitated, I'm getting very irritable, I can't stand anything, and I know exactly that I'm starting to feel very, very anxious. And to calm down and to have a breather, I will go and stop everything, whatever I'm doing. It's not life-threatening. I need to just go out for a walk, whether that's in the rain, whether it's a hot day, whatever the weather is, I will make sure to go out, and once I come back I feel so much more relaxed. Number 10 is having too much screen time. Having too much screen time means that you are scrolling on social media, you are watching snippets of somebody else's life where they look like they are happy, and you are at the minute anxious, and you're feeling even more anxious and unhappy, comparing yourself to them, that why can't I be like them? What I would say to you is to not compare yourself to anybody. You are on your own journey, you are amazing, and you can overcome your anxiety. It's just a matter of you identifying what is going on, why are you anxious, what things are making your anxiety worse, and how can you manage that anxiety. And what I would say to you is to reduce your screen time so that you are not watching other people and comparing yourself to them on there, and also to reduce the time of watching the news, because majority of the time the news is negative. It's not telling you positive news majority of the time. That also has an impact on your mood and can make your anxiety worse, and that's not what you want. You want to make sure that you are in a happy space, that you are not feeling more anxious. Especially when you are feeling anxious, try and avoid to be using things like watching things on social media until you feel better. What I would say as well is to avoid it more closer to bedtime as well, because that stimulates your brain, and even when you've turned it off, subconsciously you are still thinking about it and it is still in your mind ticking over. Now we are on to the last two. Number 11 is caffeine. Taking in caffeine will increase your heart rate and also give you heart palpitations. So as I've already said to you, that anxiety already does give you heart palpitations, especially if you are experiencing high levels of anxiety. And so if you are drinking caffeine on top of that, that will make it 10 times worse. So what I would say to you there is to reduce your caffeine or to stop drinking it, because when you are drinking caffeine, any type of caffeine, so that's whether that's tea, coffee, energy drinks, anything like that, then you either need to reduce it or stop taking it at all. If it's making you worse, you need to stop drinking it because you want to feel better in yourself. For me, I was drinking excessive amounts of coffee, I was drinking excessive amounts of energy drinks every day, and that was giving me heart palpitations. I was already an anxious person. That made my anxiety worse. It made my anxiety so worse. I was nervous all the time. I felt like I was on edge, and I was struggling to sleep. I was struggling to sleep so much. I already had difficulty sleeping anyway. Once I'd started doing these things, it made it worse, and I didn't realise at all that it was making it worse, and I was just getting into a vicious cycle of having these crashes and burnouts, drinking excessive amounts of caffeine. So what I did, for me that's helped, is to drink only 2 to 3 cups of tea or coffee, and my last coffee or tea will be around 1 or 2 o'clock. I won't drink any later now because I have reduced my caffeine intake so much. I now know that my body's sensitive to caffeine. You know, if I drink it after 2 o'clock, maybe I would say, then I will struggle to sleep, and if I struggle to sleep, then that will affect my day the next day, and I will feel anxious, I will feel irritable. I know that I've not slept enough to feel fully productive in the day and to focus. So these are things that I had to really work hard on. It was really hard. It was really hard because I used to drink a lot of tea day and night. There were times where I'd drink tea and I could fall asleep straight away, and I thought that was okay, and I'd convinced myself that caffeine didn't affect me, but it was affecting me. Once I'd identified that caffeine can be a factor to make anxiety worse, I then stopped drinking it altogether first of all, and then I slowly introduced it back in, and I've limited myself that I will not drink another cup of tea or coffee after 1 o'clock. And especially on the days that I am anxious, I am feeling panicky in the day, I will try my best to avoid drinking caffeine or reduce the intake of my caffeine of that day, because I know that I am feeling anxious and I don't want to make my anxiety worse. So I'll try and replace it with squash or water to just calm myself down and just be hydrated. Now finally we are on to the last one, which is number 12, and that's neglecting your sleep. Now, as I've already just mentioned to you, having too much caffeine can impact your sleep. So that is one factor that needs to be taken into consideration to avoid or reduce to help your anxiety. Now, not having enough sleep can also increase your anxiety levels. So I call this sleep hygiene. Sleep hygiene is really important. For me, I've had to create a routine of making sure that I get 7 to 8 hours sleep. So I will make sure to get ready for bed and make sure to get sufficient amount of sleep. I won't go over. I won't overwork myself now anymore, because in the morning when I wake up and I haven't had enough sleep, I am irritable. I do have a low mood. I am struggling to concentrate. It's not easy then for me to get on with my day. So that's why it's important for me, and I would say to you as well, is to understand your body. How much sleep does your body need? Does it need a lot of sleep? And that's okay. Not everybody needs a short amount of sleep. Some people are okay, they are fine sleeping less hours. There are others like me who do need a lot of sleep and to function better in the day, so that my mood is not low, I am not irritable, and that I can keep my anxiety levels very low. The important thing is to recognize which ones are actually impacting your anxiety and how to take those proactive steps to reduce anxiety once you've identified it. I want to let you know that the 12 factors that I have mentioned today about in regards to what could be making your anxiety worse, some may apply to you, all may apply to you, maybe just 1 or 2 will apply, so not all have to be applying to you. But the important thing is to recognize which ones are actually impacting your anxiety and how to take those proactive steps to reduce anxiety once you've identified it, so that you are less anxious and feeling more better in yourself. So once you're able to identify and reduce your anxiety levels, this is going to improve your mood, reduce your anxiety, and just give you a better outlook in life, make you feel better, and that's what you want to do. Thank you so much for listening to the 12 factors that are increasing your anxiety levels. I hope that this helps you to reduce your anxiety. Please do let me know in the comments if this has helped you, and if you have any questions at all, please feel free to comment below. If you like my videos, please click the like button and hit subscribe to watch more videos like this.